Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
And I'm Brighton Codd.
And good morning, Belize.
Good
so
morning,
wonderful to have
April.
you here on a Thursday.
Yeah, it is a Thursday. We're getting towards the end of the week once again.
I can't wait. I want the weekend from Monday. I don't know if you had those weeks where they're like, okay, it needs to be done. It needs to be done.
Yeah. How was your drive this morning?
You know, my pa tell me last night, they said, I want you left earlier because I don't want the rain catch you. So watch for me wake up like 10 minutes earlier. Brighton message me when he know that my bedtime, right? And no rain. Dry, bright as ever.
That's
not
how
a
we
cloud
like it.
in the sky.
We don't want for it to be hot. We don't want for it to be rainy. But I mean, the rain was really nice over the past week, to be honest.
It was.
The smell of petrichor. it's something that I've always loved. I always appreciate being home when it's raining and you just get to relax.
Cuddle and just,
right.
Yeah, it does give you a sense of calm. I think we really needed it. However, you know, it's one of those incidents where there's just enough and then when it rains, it pours, right? Because that kind of ties into the hurricane, well, the tropical storm that was emerging in the Yucatan. And then, of course, we got those rains. And, of course, we got those floodings. And
speaking of that, April, we are officially in the Atlantic hurricane season.
We are, but I felt that we were in that from May. No, because from May, it rained so many times, and that is not something common that we see. You know, that's supposed to be our hot month. That when you're supposed to do the rain dance, so that you get rain in June and July. Yeah. And, you know, for the past couple of years, we just observed, well, of course, with climate change and so on, that we're getting more rains in April and May, so they no longer, you know, constitute as our hottest months of the year. Right. But now it's so unpredictable that we don't know maybe that the hurricane season might just start earlier.
Right. Yeah. And even throughout the hurricane season, we sometimes see that there are spells where we have droughts. And we see forest fires, bush fires. Yeah. And so we definitely see where it's attributable to climate change and how that's impacting our environment.
Speaking of flooding, just on the news last night, we were talking about it before we came on camera, that Crooked Tree is experiencing flooding. Yeah. And, you know, before we get into the peak of hurricane season, they're pleading for, you know, demands for a new road to be constructed because as much as they like the fact that they're able to get help from Coast Guard when the boats come, you know, they would like another evacuation route. Right. It's like when you're trapped in a house with only one way out, and that's a scary feeling.
It's the main causeway, and so it's definitely something that should be of priority and great importance at this very juncture.
I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the plans are, but I saw Nemo came on the show, and of course they were on the news last night, and they were talking about, you know, safety measures, what we can do, what we should do, what you should prepare for, what you should plan for. I don't know about you, but there's always a safety emergency kit at home. You know, when you got when the power go out, you always have your flashlight, you always have your candles. Make sure that you're stocked up.
Yeah, you have your radio that you're ready to listen and keen if current goes. I mean, you have to stay ready. You have to be prepared. Yeah. And that's a part of the hurricane preparedness plan that families should have already been engaged in.
I know. I was listening to the representatives of NEMO talk about, well, people should have tried prepare like 6 months ago, and I'm like, people do that.
You know, us Belizeans are last minute, but if you have not started preparations as yet, it's time for you to get going because we're officially in hurricane season. And so ensure that you have a secure place. Like Marlene stated earlier in one of the shows this week, if you're in a position to stay and weather a storm that's not as dangerous as a Category 5, Category 4, and you can do that, that's a possibility, but ensure that your houses your roofs are properly attached, you have secure plasters for your windows to ensure that nothing comes in. And if you need to evacuate to higher grounds, then prepare yourself to do so.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But just on the discussion about changes in Belize and not just about weather, but about preparedness, about progress and solutions that not just the government but the people can do, Brighton wants to discuss a very keen industry that is up and coming in Belize. And when he brought it up, right, I said, Brighton, you'll have to take the lead on this one.
Listen, April. We are talking about the ostrich industry that's developing. And yesterday, there were a series of interviews, and one of them that struck out to me immediately was seeing the leader of the Belize People's Front saying that this is an industry that us Belizeans need. However, she does not believe that the Mennonites are supposed to be meddling in this industry because this is something that should be for us, which I find is not something that we should accept as a free market economy. Because if there's one thing that should be understood, it's that competition drives innovation. Competition elevates the standard and quality of the products that we put forth.
I 100% agree with you, Brighton. But you know what? You were talking about it. We were talking about it before the camera started to roll. And one of the things that struck me was, aren't we all Belizeans?
Exactly.
So it kind of begs the question of this. You know, when we talk about how racism, discrimination, and segregation isn't real, and then we hear a line like that,
right?
It 100% exists, and that is already bringing a divide of us and them.
Right.
Right. You can just say competition, you know, but talking about it's for us Belizeans, and we don't need them. That, like, you know, it goes back to this old conversation.
Right.
And exactly what you brought up about it's a free market for everybody.
Right.
And it brings revenue to the country regardless of who's in it.
Yeah. And we have to give everyone that equal opportunity to be able to invest in the industry if they so choose.
100% agree. But, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't really like ostrich meat. I don't know if you've had it.
Well, I've never had ostrich meat before.
It's very, well, I guess it depends on who cook it, but it's very tough. I'm not a fan. But if you are going to be a fan of ostrich meat, I guess you should put it in a slow cooker for at least 6 to 8 hours so that.
And some people are also looking forward to the leather that they could get from the ostrich itself to, I guess, engage in the clothing industry.
You know, it's not something that's far-fetched for Belize. I just always find it interesting when we have to bring in new resources when we've not yet understand how to utilize the old resources
the ones that we have.
So that, you know, there's a lot of questions as to why we do that, how we do that, is it cheaper, but that's a question for trade when the time comes, right? But just for measure, I also wanted to talk about the COVID vaccinations that are taking place for kids 5 to 11, and it seems that so far so good. They've been monitoring this whole week. I know that it's not a lot of time to start to see symptoms and so forth, but over the past few days they have been issuing to schools, and so far we've not been reported of any kind of symptoms or so forth. And you know, I checked the cases last night, and we're at 170 add cases, and they're going up, people. They are. So get vaccinated, get boosted, stay safe, keep your distance, wash your hands.
Yeah.
And
it's important. It's important that we do and take the necessary measures to protect ourselves or loved ones, even though there's not that heightened level of deaths that's being reported as prior in the earlier part of the pandemic. It's still important to protect ourselves because we don't know how the virus is going to interact with our bodies.
No. As we say in science, try one, fail, try twice, succeed, try 3 times, fail again. It's a learning process. And we have to try to take our measure. But we have to get moving on for our show this morning. And of course, we move into our eye opener for today. And our eye opener is taken from dailyom.com, and it goes like this.
Holding on to regret
Oh, okay.
is like dragging the weight of the past with us everywhere we go. Holding on to regret is like dragging the weight of the past with us everywhere we go. It drains our energy, leaving less available for life in the present because we are constantly feeding an old issue. This attachment can cause illness the same way watering a dead plant creates decay. We know that something new and beautiful can grow in its place if we only prepare the soil and plant the right seeds. We can choose to move on right now by applying what we have learned to the present and perhaps even sharing with others, transforming the energy into something that is constructive and creative for ourselves and others. Forgiveness is the soothing balm that can heal regret. We can ask for ourselves for forgiveness for keeping us locked in that space of judgment for so long. We may also want to ask forgiveness from anyone else who may have been affected. By replaying the event in our minds, we can choose a new ending using all that we know now. Imagine that you have actually gone back into the past and made this change, and then say goodbye to it. Release your former self with a hug and bring the forgiveness and love back with you to the present. Since we are usually our harshest critics, it is amazing how powerfully healing it can be to offer ourselves love.
I don't know about you, but I 100% agree with this eye opener. I don't think that it's sometimes difficult to let go of certain things, and then of course you have that sense of guilt and regret. Yeah. But I think that even things that are mistakes or things that don't necessarily make us better at a certain point in time does make room for growth. Right. If that didn't happen to you, you wouldn't have learned.
Right.
So holding on to regret is like dragging the weight. Yes. Because if you keep harboring those feelings, you're not going to move forward. You're not going to progress. So
absolutely.
Regrets. No regrets.
You know, I always tell people live without regrets, but I could share one of my moments when I actually regretted doing something, and this was actually in athletics, in volleyball. We were playing against the United States, and we were in the third set, going wire for wire, point for point with the United States, and they won the set 15-13. But at the 13-13 mark, I decided to go and hit the ball very hard instead of placing the ball, which has been making points the entire game. And I immediately regretted that action. And that regret kind of followed me for several weeks, probably a couple months. But I eventually moved on from that because it was a huge moment. I mean, it's against the United States and we're in a semifinals match. And you learn from it. You grow as an individual. You push forward, and you know what not to do the other time around.
I guess it's the situation 100% will determine how much you kind of, because I mean, we've talked about it, like I'm not competitive, so but I would imagine that for someone that is built like an athlete, has that competitive streak, and you, the one that held the last minute, you know, I could imagine how that is. But the fact that you said you had to move on from it, otherwise you probably would have always kept thinking about that, and it would have affected your other games, and you wouldn't have made it to where you are. So. No regrets. Live life, and try to learn from your actions and your mistakes. But moving on, we have to get into our weather forecast for today. And I hope that they tell us that it's going to be sunny and bright, because I really, I don't know if I want it for rain this weekend. I had plans. But we'll see. Let's get into it.
Can you give us the general weather forecast that we're seeing for today?
So we're taking
moist and unstable conditions persist over the area. The 24-hour forecast is for skies to be sunny with cloudy spells today and mostly cloudy tonight. A few showers, periods of rain, and thunderstorms will develop mainly over inland areas this afternoon and across the country tonight before becoming concentrated offshore by tomorrow morning. A flood watch remains in effect for the likelihood of localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas. High temperatures this afternoon will peak near 88 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 94 inland, and 80 in the hills. Low temperatures tonight will fall near 75 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 73 inland, and 66 in the hills. Winds over the open sea will blow generally from the west at 5 to 15 knots, and sea conditions will be moderate to rough. Operators of small crafts are advised to exercise caution for gusty winds and locally rough seas near heavy showers or thunderstorms. High tide will occur at 5 minutes after 11 this morning, followed by low tide at 9 minutes to 7 this evening. The moon rises at 7:43 this morning and will set at 9:21 tonight. The sun will set at 6:24 this evening and will rise again at 5:17 tomorrow morning. The outlook for Friday and Friday night is for isolated showers or thunderstorms, except for a few more developing over inland areas during the afternoon hours. In this week's Sargassum update, there is a medium chance that a few more sargassum mats could affect beaches across the country during the next few days. In the tropical weather outlook, a broad area of low pressure located over northeastern Yucatan Peninsula is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and Yucatan Peninsula. This system is likely to become a tropical depression while it moves slowly northeastward over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and southeastern Gulf of Mexico during the next day or two. To reiterate, a flood watch remains in effect for the likelihood of localized flooding over low-lying and flood-prone areas across the country. And that ends this morning's weather report and forecast from the National Meteorological Service.
All right, there you have it. So
Yeah.
we are expected to get some more showers. We are expected to get some more rains. So please, please, please try your best to stay safe. Wear, take out an umbrella, wear some boots, a raincoat, and just stay cautious. But moving into our show for this morning, we have 3 jam-packed segments for you today. And of course, we will begin. Brighton, there's a birthday to be celebrated.
There is a birthday to be celebrated.
Yes.
And we're going to be dabbling into that conversation, and we'll be joined by CEO Carrillo from the Ministry of Blue Economy and Civil Aviation, as well as Vivian Ramnorris from the Fisheries Department.
Yes, they're going to be talking about the 10,000th birthday in 2022. Whose birthday is it? You're going to find out. And our second conversation for this morning will be the return of the Cancer Walk. I don't know about you for the past 2 years.
I'm looking forward to it.
We've been stifled, so we're going to have with us the president of the Belize Cancer Society and the administrative assistant to discuss with us the return of the annual Cancer Walk of 2022.
And our third segment for this morning will be the After School Care Summer Session, and we'll be joined by Gilliam Alegria and Martin Alegria to speak about the After the Bell after school care.
Love it. So we will have that and more, but before that, we have to take a short break, and when we get back, 10,000th and birthday. Who knew?
Whose birthday is it?
We'll find out. Stay tuned.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. selecciona Language y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
My name is Wilmer De La Rosa from Santa Elena Town. I am currently a student at Cayo, set for employment training. Enrolled in the electrical installation program. In late July 2021, I got a confirmation that I was a successful applicant and would be granted a scholarship from Social Security Board. It was one of the proudest moments for me. I felt very excited to start this new path in my life. So far on my journey as a Social Security Board scholar, my vocational technical scholarship has assisted me in achieving my life goals in so many ways. For one, it has renewed sense of purpose, another chance at professional development, and a start at a new career. This opportunity has paved the way for me to excel in life as an individual and as a member of society. Great things are coming after I graduate from SET. I can promise you that. Applying for a vocational technical scholarship through the Social Security Board is simple and easy. I would advise young people in need to apply. It is possible to create a fulfilling and fruitful life with a Social Security scholarship. Believe in yourself and your abilities and skills. I always say the key is to always keep an open mind and let your determination be your motivation.
we have it. Now we know whose birthday it is.
Do we?
It is the 10,000th celebration of the
Belize
Barrier Reef.
Reef. And of course, joining us with us this morning, we have the people that will help us throw the big party that Brighton and I are 100% invited to. We have with us in studio Marty Alvarez, who's a representative of the Belize Audubon Society, and Vivian Ramnares, who is representative of the Fisheries Department. Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Well, that definitely set the mood for this morning.
I was not expecting the chair. I was very excited.
Yeah. The Barrier Reef has been with us for a long time. And we were talking this morning about just how important the Barrier Reef is in terms of the Atlantic hurricane season and what the ecosystem services that it provides for us. Speak to us about the Barrier Reef and it being a World Heritage Site and what that means for our country going forward.
So the Belize, well, it's actually called the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System. That's the official name of the World Heritage Site. And it was designated in 1996. It's different from other marine World Heritage Sites where it's just one site. Ours is a cluster site, so it's made up of 7 marine protected areas across our offshore. So, you know, it's you have this management thing that you have to play with because it's 7 different sites and they're managed by 7 by the Fisheries Department and through 2 NGOs through co-management with the Forest Department, such as Belize Audubon Society and Southern Environmental Association. But these 7 sites, Bacalar Chico Marine Reserve and the Forest Reserve, you have the Blue Hole Natural Monument, you have the Half Moon Key Natural Monument, Saltwater Key Marine Reserve, Glover's Reef Marine Reserve, Laughing Bird Key National Park, and
Zapadilla Keys Marine Reserve.
One of the things that has always interested me as a Belizean, and I guess for many Belizeans out there, is that we take ownership and pride of the Belize Barrier Reef. But it's not just for us, right? It stretches from Mexico, Yucatan, all the way down to Honduras. So tell us what gives Belize that ownership.
Well, like you said, it is a part of the larger Mesoamerican Barrier Reef, and like you rightly said, it's not just for us, it's for, you know, humanity on a whole, and how important it is to us, and as it relates to culture, economic, you know, social economic, you know, it's important to 2 important sectors, our tourism sector, our fisheries sector, and like you said, you know, the ecosystem's value as it relates to coastal protection, dead or alive, it does play a role in protecting our coast from, like, for example, hurricanes. I already forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. Speak to us a bit about the Belize Barrier Reef in terms of the types of protective measures that are being put in place to conserve the reef from its quote unquote death, because we know that climate change is impacting the global community, and certainly our waters are getting warmer, and so it's impacting the Barrier Reef as well. Speak to us about some of the protective measures that are being put in place.
So before I answer that, I would just want to say, you know, explain some of the reasons why it became a World Heritage Site. One, it displays various reef types in such a small area. You know, a fringing reef, barrier reef, the main barrier reef that we have where there's a lagoon, and then we have 3 out of 4 atolls on this side of the world, and so and also different types of reefs, such as Faroe reefs, which are like tiny atoll-like reefs that we can find in saltwater marine reserve. But there's also the amount of species that we have, the unique geological feature like the blue hole. So all of that, and the fact that it's a habitat for a lot of our threatened and endangered species. And we also have some endemic species that can only be found in Saltwater Key Marine Reserve in the whole world. We have, like tunicates and sponges, and we also, which is why it's my favorite reserve, there's also in the Pelican Keys range where coral is actually growing around the mangrove roots. It's amazing to see, but going through all the measures that we've been taking over the years, Belize is really a leader in a lot of in conservation as it relates to the marine environment. The protected areas network is one measure, and we've expanded recently with the no-take zones. Recently, too, we've protected the remaining national lands in some of those reserves as mangrove reserves. We've protected grazers so that they could promote the health of corals. Updating of legislation, the Fisheries Act, the EIA regulations, the Integrated Coastal Zone Management Plan. There's a lot of things that we've been doing over the years, and we're still continuing to do. And, so we're really, I think it's really helped us. All these measures that we've put in for the past decade, I think if we didn't do them, we would be, our reef would probably be in a much poorer state.
Right.
So
because I think that about a decade ago it was declared endangered, and we had done all of these measures to stop certain like sea fishing, seawater dredging, and all that stuff. So can you walk us through how we have made that progress from when we were declared endangered to now that we are officially
so so the World Heritage Site was put on the endangered list in 2009, and it was mainly at that time due to mangrove alteration and also, for example, the invasive rats on Half Moon Key. And then throughout the years, then there were we had the lionfish invasive species. There was even talks of offshore oil exploration. So all of that, was reason why we remained for so long. And so I think it was 2014 or 2015 when the Fisheries Department took over the National Focal Point, we started to have more conversations with the Marine World Heritage Program under UNESCO and also IUCN. And so they came to Belize, and that's where it all started, finding out how we can get ourselves off. And so we came up with some indicators, some targets on how to get off. And so in 2018, we had completed almost all, so they allowed us to come off the endangered list. And so with the recent designation of the mangrove reserves in Saltwater Key and Sapodala Keys Marine Reserve, we are now completely finished with all those targets under that, what they call the desired state of conservation.
So the barrier reef is 10,000 years old. How do we measure her age?
Well, the thing is, we would say, right now scientists have done several works, and they have estimated that our barrier reef is between 5,000 to 10,000 years old. So we went with it 10,000 years old, of course, for our marketing strategy and to
So add age to the gal.
So to promote her, end of the day, you know what? The older you are, the more some people age like wine. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree.
So we went with that age for the marketing strategy, and of course to promote the awareness of the importance of the barrier reef. So it's something that we do benefit from. Over 500 million people all over the world depend on the barrier reef for either food, protection, and income. So it's something that's very, very important to us. Of course, as Belizeans, we're a coastal community. Hurricane season is right around the corner. And believe you me, if you're outside the reef or outside the barrier reef, you get some huge swells and waves.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned that it's for a marketing purpose, because automatically that signals to me tourism. And it also signals to me just how much the barrier reef plays a role in terms of the development of our economy or how it drives our economy forward. Speak to us about the relationship that's ongoing with, for example, the tourism industry to ensure that the increase in cruise tourism or flight tourism coming into country does not affect the reef. What are some of the measures being taken to ensure that there's balance in terms of sustainably developing?
Do you have a picture of the logo?
Oh. Do we have a picture of the logo? No. We don't. Tell us why it's important that we have a picture of the logo.
The logo was designed to
See, there it is.
yeah, it was designed to be similar to the BTB, the tourism.
Okay.
So if you look at it, you see the similar colors and you know the similar font, and it while like under the Blue Economy Ministry, you know, we have that. We have the cluster group where we invite the tourism industry into those meetings, and as well with this planning committee, BTIA and BTB are also a part of it. But really, we do collaborate with the tourism industry. I feel like we need more collaboration because, especially with the tour guides, in you know, I know that they do their certification program, but I feel like there's need for more collaboration and training, you know, because I've personally seen some stuff that I'm not, I'm not happy with, but also looking at, like, for example, in the reserves, finding out what are the limits of acceptable change or current capacity for certain sites that you know that you allow just a certain amount of tourists in one area to maintain the health of that ecosystem there.
Right.
Now, how do you balance that kind of protection and the livelihood of some of these organizations and these tour companies?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult, and that's why we always try to collaborate in a lot of the stuff that we do.
I like to say that most of the time when it comes to protection as well, most of our tour guides, I believe, they are stewards of their environment compared to some fishermen. They use it as their livelihood. So going back there with their tourists, getting their tours, getting their tips is something that they continuously do. But the overall protection also comes from government agencies like the Fisheries Department, co-managers such as myself that do management patrols. More likely we patrol the barrier reef, certain areas like we mentioned before, the 7 areas that stretches along the coastline of Belize. So for example, BAS has rangers that they do enforcement patrols to provide management presence around the entire atoll. Down south, I believe Southern Environmental Association does the same thing, Fisheries Department does the same thing to ensure that fishers are fishing sustainably. And there are also tourism regulations, so ensuring that tourists don't step on the coral, you know, those take thousands of years to grow, and they are very important to our economic industry. So everybody, I believe everybody benefit from the barrier reef, be it the hoteliers, the restaurant. When the tourists come, they need a place to stay, they want to go partying, they eat from the street vendors. So it's a holistic, beneficial environment, ecosystem, so to speak, for everybody in Belize.
And what he's saying is that keyword, holistic. Because while we are branding the World Heritage Site, it only takes up, what, 12% of the actual reef system. And so we do really have to look at it on a holistic level, and in like for management measures. We can't think that there's, just because you're designated within a reserve, meaning that there's closed boundaries, you know?
So I want to give you the opportunity to sell this birthday party to us,
because we're invited, Brighton.
Yes, we are invited.
We are invited.
We invited ourselves. But speak to us about what makes our barrier reef so special in comparison to the Australian barrier reef? What makes our reef stand out?
Well, like I said, we have the various types of reefs
Yeah.
in such a small area compared to theirs. Their barrier reef is very large, but ours, you know, you have the different types. We have 3 atolls, like I mentioned, on this this side of the hemisphere.
We have the blue hole.
Yes, the blue hole.
That is a Belizean icon, you know.
It is.
Exactly.
The minute you see that on any postcard, you know that it's
huge-
Belize.
It's a huge diving, what do you call it?
That
Site.
haven. It's something
for
that everybody
divers
has
around the world come here just to dive the blue hole.
Yeah.
So.
their bucket list. So imagine diving that blue hole.
Also, ours is alive.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've heard actually, that ours is bouncing. It's alive, and the
Vibrant.
fishes and the corals are living harmoniously.
I think Australia would disagree that theirs is dying.
It's a good thing they don't watch us.
They are experiencing a lot of coral bleaching events.
Okay.
I think 4 in the past 7 years. I think right now they are going through one, I think a couple of months ago. I'm not sure if it's still ongoing, but it's really, because it's happening so quickly, it's giving corals a hard time to recover. So if it keeps going like this, then yes, they will end up dying, but they will argue that it's only you know, certain parts and not the whole reef that is being impacted.
Are we engaging in coral restoration in Belize right now?
Of course. From Fragments of Hope, they have been working with the government, and they're the ones who are leading coral restoration in Belize since 2006. And so they first started in the Laughing Bird Key National Park, and I believe in probably like 7 or 8 years, they've went from, I think, 5% coral cover to 60% in certain areas. So it's really been successful in that national park.
So as I think we were talking about before, that every Belizean, as they grow up and learn about, you know, the environment in Belize, they talk about the barrier reef, right? So, but tell us something that maybe they don't teach us in school. Oh wow!
The thing is, certain things that we do get in school are, I would say, for example, some of the symbiotic relationships that you might find out there. So animals benefiting from each other. I didn't learn that in school. I had to learn that elsewhere. But for example, the groupers, you always see some shrimps or cleaning shrimps. So what would happen? It's important for the kids to learn that there's complex food webs out there, especially in the marine world. So for example, the symbiotic relationship I'm speaking about is the cleaning shrimp that goes inside the mouth of the groupers to basically give it a dental floss, eating all the extra meat and bacteria that's in there, cleaning the grouper, and in turn they both have a beneficial relationship. The grouper gets his mouth clean and the shrimp got
food,
lunch or dinner.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even though in primary school you learn about the reef, you know, something as basic as what is coral, because I've been on site visits where people call it rock.
Yes.
And it's not a rock, it's an animal.
Yes.
And so, you know, learning all these things in school, you know, we really need to, I admit that we, even ourselves as the fisheries department, we need to do more in schools, you know, more going to more schools and teaching them about the reef itself.
Right. I guess if you learn that the coral is a living thing and not a rock, you learn to appreciate it more, and you won't want to step on it. So we're talking about the barrier reef. It's beautiful. I keep watching all of the clips that you're putting on the screen. But tell us about the birthday celebrations, and because it's a jam-packed week of activities. So walk us through the calendar of events and then the gala that Brighton and I will be attending.
Also, the gala is for conservation partners as well as, I can't say the general public as yet, but for invited guests. So you could speak to Miss Emily. I guess she will give you your invitation.
Miss Emily, we are looking forward to that invitation.
So the first day I think we have up on the calendar is, what do you have there?
We have June 3rd, Friday.
So that's the gala. So we'll hear a lot about the Barrier Reef, the importance to us. And of course you could wine and dine. It's event, dress up, you know, come looking nice. So make sure you put on your best suit, guys.
So he's telling us we're going, So and the next event?
The next event will be
the Family Fun Day at Placencia.
Okay, yeah, so they should be having a family fun day, meaning that they will as well do a lionfish shootout. They said they will go out around Laughing Bird Key, do some clearing of the lionfish. You know, it's an invasive species that kind of harm to our barrier reef, so we're going to take that off the reef, and we want to likely educate some of the public about the spines and so forth. Then you got that family fun day. The following day, I think it's World Oceans Day. That's that, what, June 8th?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah, so that's a big environmental fair, and we will have several NGOs in attendance. Belize Audubon Society will be there. The Fisheries Department will be there. We've had some other confirmation from WCS. So other entrepreneurs that will be selling jewelry or other stuff that that are made from
resources from the sea.
Yeah.
Wow. And then Friday, beach cleanup day.
Yes, that will be in
San Pedro.
San Pedro. So, you know, taking off all those garbage from the reef. That's something that's very important, because we all know in primary school we've been told that, you know, if the plastics, the turtle mistake it for jellyfish and they eventually consume it and swallow it. So we want to try, and this whole week is for the protection and the importance, the awareness of our barrier reef, you know, 10,000 years.
You know, when I saw the beach cleanup and I saw sargassum, one thing we were talking about the development of industries this morning, and one thing that struck me immediately is, are we engaging in discourse in terms of the development of an industry to utilize sargassum for biofuel purposes or for fertilizer development? Is there that type of discussion happening within the ministry?
There is a sargassum task force that was developed when it started becoming an issue on how to clean it up, and there was also discussions on how they can use it. But right now they're doing, like, under the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism, they're doing a regional project on sargassum, so they're collecting samples. So I think, I'm not sure if it's finished here in Belize, but they were collecting samples here to test it, because I believe it was in Mexico, they tested it and it was high in heavy metals, so you wouldn't want to use it for certain things. That's why we're a part of this regional project. But if you want to show on that, we got the right person for that.
Okay. So no more questions about the sargassum is what she is saying. No, I mean, it is something that we are seeing becoming more of an issue, and we're trying to. I mean, Belize is very good at resilience and utilizing their resources. No, so hopefully.
Some have been using it as a landfill, and But I think people have to understand that with the warming of our waters, with nutrients in our waters, this will become a
algae buildup
reoccurring event. So it's just finding ways to adapt to it.
Yeah. But talk to us more about World Ocean Day and why is it that it's important that we celebrate it?
World Oceans Day, well, it's celebrated throughout the world by various, so a lot of organizations, they will be celebrating in some way or form. You know, a lot of them have been invited to, like, webinars where they're discussing different ways how to protect the ocean, how to, what management measures are out there that, you know, share experiences. And so that's why we're doing this fair to showcase what we as a country have been doing to protect our, you know, our marine resources and the environment.
All right, any final words for viewers before we come to an end?
Well, come out at World Oceans Day at the fair, and of course, you know what, try and continue putting your garbage in the proper way, you know, try and protect the reef. So everything that occurs on land does go
ridge to reef approach.
Yeah, so it does go all the way out to the sea. So anything upstream, if you don't have proper management of our garbage upstream, it goes out to the reef, and you know, it's for us. Let us try our best to
don't leave the work all to us as, you know, government and the NGOs. You know, the public, you can do your part in protecting the reef.
100% agree. So just walk us through one more time the activities.
The gala.
Which we're invited.
We're going because in until we family get suit.
The family fun day in Placencia on Sunday. The fair on Wednesday, which is World Oceans Day, and then the beach cleanup on the 10th in San Pedro.
Wonderful.
Well, there we have it. If you're interested, please go out. In fact, be interested.
Be interested.
We invite you to go out and help to clean up our beaches. We invite you to celebrate the 10,000th birthday of the Belize Barrier Reef. Go out with your family, engage with the community, get our beaches clean, and let's continue to protect and conserve our barrier reef.
Lovely.
With that said, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to going to this gala.
Yes.
See you there.
But we need to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by representatives from the Belize Cancer Society, so stay with us.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At Digi Business, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how DigiBusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
Today, Belize joins other UN countries around the world in celebrating World Environment Day. World Environment Day 2022 marks the 50th anniversary since the UN General Assembly officially designated June 5th as the International Day of the Environment. Serving as a platform for inspiring positive change, World Environment Day engages governments, businesses, civil society, schools, cities, and communities to promote global awareness and celebrate cohesive environmental action. This year's World Environment Day theme, Only One Earth, calls for transformative changes to policies and choices to enable cleaner, greener, and sustainable living in harmony with nature. It is in this regard that we invite everyone to celebrate our Earth through collective actions in addressing one or more aspects of the triple planetary emergency. The climate is heating up faster than people and nature can adapt. Habitat loss and pressures mean an estimated 1 million species are threatened with extinction, and pollution continues to poison our air, land, and water. The Department of the Environment, under the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, and Disaster Risk Management, and its key partners have been implementing the National Environmental Policy and Strategy, which identifies national issues that are important for us to address collectively for a more sustainable Belize. We continue our restorative efforts of the New River with active involvement from local communities, NGOs, CBOs, and industry, making every effort to re-establish the ecosystem's very important equilibrium. The ministry is also actively engaged in reducing marine pollution from plastics, as well as is moving steadfast in phasing out single-use plastics. We are also enforcing new and more robust forest policies, protecting our biodiversity and ecosystem functions. The newly implemented Solid Waste Project 2, for example, continues to further reduce greenhouse emission from waste disposal facilities, and there are now plans to introduce cleaner technology in the transportation sector to reduce emissions in major municipalities throughout our nation. Belize, climate change continues to affect our beautiful jewel. Biodiversity loss may continue to degrade fragile ecosystems if we do not continue to take action to protect them. World Environment Day 2022 calls for transformative change, making sustainable living the default option, as this beautiful planet we call home cannot sustain the stresses and impacts we place upon it. It is more evident now than ever. We must all be held accountable for our actions. Let us all work together to achieve one unified mission, a world in which we can live at peace with nature. Let us instill positive change by ensuring this unique and beautiful planet remains our home. And let us always remember that the gifts and blessings which nature endows upon us are priceless. Happy Environment Day, Belize, from the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, and Disaster Risk Management.
Are back with our second conversation for this morning. Joining us in studio, we have Laura Tucker Longsworth, and she is a representative of the Belize Cancer Society and president of the Belize Cancer Society, and she's going to be talking to us this morning about the return of the famous annual Cancer Walk. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, well, you know, it's always a pleasure to sit in these chairs.
Well, we're so happy to have you this morning because, you know, the pandemic shut down a lot of things, not just businesses, but different cases where we can promote charity work.
Exactly.
And one of the biggest charity works that we know of countrywide is the Cancer Walk.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about what happened during the pandemic and
Yes.
how you've tried to transition since.
Yes, well, I enjoyed coming here, first of all. I'm one of OYE's top fans. Social media.
She the fangirl right now. We the fangirl and she the fangirl.
Yes. So anyhow, you're right. The work of the Belize Cancer Society is well known. It's been established. We have a reputation of reaching out to the public and engaging with community participation in all that we do. The Belize Cancer Society really is really, apart from the administrator and an assistant, that's it. No one else earns a salary, so the community knows that their funds are being used to sustain the work, the actual work of the Belize Cancer Society. And so, of course, the COVID pandemic affected all of us, shut us down, and we depend on our activities to sustain the work of the society. So that was shut down. Nevertheless, we were able to use whatever funds we had to keep our doors open, even partially. And during the pandemic, we continued to support in a big way the movement of patients across the border. I remember the borders were all closed, but many of our Belizean patients who need radiation, and some of our and kids who need chemotherapy, they go to Merida for that kind of treatment mostly. Some go to Guatemala. And so during that time, we worked with our administrator at the time, who has now departed the society after many years, Heather Renault. She would man the phone and work with the Ministry of Education and Foreign Affairs to move patients across. And that worked beautifully, along with the Ministry of Health as well. That worked beautifully. So we were able to maintain that. And additionally, we're also, along with the Belize Cancer Center in Dangriga, being able to arrange for children to receive treatment locally, intravenously via their spine, chemotherapy at a private institution, so that they didn't have to travel. So now that has been established. That's one service. Now you know that it can be done. It's being done here under the guidance of Dr. Grant, Elsworth Grant from the Belize Cancer Center in Dangriga, and the pediatric oncologist in Merida. So that's something that evolved. You know, during the pandemic, we become resourceful, innovative, and so on. And that is one good thing that happened, because it decreased the travel that they would normally have to make. And then, of course, during the pandemic, we still work with our donors, Global Reach Foundation and Commonwealth Trading, through Mrs. Maria Sylvester, who had, long before the pandemic, offered to put in a chemotherapy suite. So people that, the patients that go to the Belize Cancer Center in Dangriga would be able to, especially those from the north and here, can receive chemotherapy at the center. So, and we actually got it done during the pandemic. We had we had workers, and then the workers had COVID, we shut down. And then we opened it back, and the workers got COVID again, and we shut it down. But we made it through, and it was launched last year. And so we're moving into the full operation now, and with the support of the oncology nurse from the Belize Cancer Center in Dangriga. It's our absolute collaboration, and the center is actually a Belize Cancer Center, the Dangriga managed site. So that's what we were doing during COVID. So I think that brings us up to date.
Yes.
But by the time, but then you can imagine, we were hoping for the restrictions to be lifted because we were bankrupt, because we use up all our operational funds with nothing coming. And I have to say, though, we had donors during the COVID period that helped us to pay bills for children needing treatment in the States, and we are forever grateful to those donors. We always, whenever we call on a company, they try to help us. It doesn't matter what they do, and so we're grateful for that. And then now, once the restrictions were lifted, the first thing we grabbed onto was the cancer walk.
Yes.
It was a little bit tight to organize, because usually we begin much earlier.
Right.
But somehow we pulled it off. Belmopan, BCS, they pulled off theirs, and they said it was quite well attended. So we thank God for that. And then we are now here getting ready for our walk on Saturday. It has been a lot of work, and all our volunteers have disappeared. Our key person, the administrator, is no longer there. So we're all pitching in. I need to thank my family, my daughters. They took time off from work to come in and help my sister. She's just returned home. She's been there from morning until night, working with all the. But apart from that, the response has been phenomenal. We have approached companies to help us pay bills for the cancer walk, banners and stuff like that. You know, those companies, whatever they could give, they gave it to us. Willingly, we called on the city council, they pitched in. The mayor is going to be cutting the ribbon for the cancer walk. So it's his city, so we're like, yes. And of course, it's the first time we're doing it in the city, and there's a reason for that. We've always been told that we should do one in the city and see what the response would be like. Because, you know, traditionally it's from Ladyville.
Right.
But this year, it meant then that we would have had to go into engaging with buses and all that to get us up there and back, and we didn't have time nor money to do that. So we said, let's do it in the city. And so that is the first thing. I think that we called on the security people with transport, traffic, the police department, and they came immediately. I mean, like immediately, how can we help you? And they helped us to chart out a route. And then after that, we got permission for all the security along the way and reassurances from ACP Gillett that everything is in place and he himself might be walking it. It's so heartwarming. The community police calling, oh, Miss Laura, you know, we always do a little barbecue as our contribution. They will be out at the Marion Jones Stadium doing their barbecue. By the way, we still have barbecue tickets, so please. Yes, so it's been hectic getting out the letters and following up. And the T-shirts, well, let me tell you. The T-shirt.
I don't want a T-shirt.
Yes, you never get a T-shirt?
I never get a T-shirt.
Oh, what kind of T-shirt you may want?
What do I want you to wear?
Oh, you wanted one like, you sure never, because I think they have some white, so we'll check it out for you.
All right. After the show.
We'll check it out for you, but I found out something this year about the fashionistas. I think it's a fashionista issue in Belize. Everybody wants and ordered dry fits, way beyond what we had planned for. So we have been scrambling. We had to say sorry, but those persons that we are committed to, we're trying to get. I didn't know Belize people, all the young people, everybody. So everybody that fitness box or something.
I'm just saying that if I going out in the hot sun and walk, I would like a dry fit T-shirt.
I guess it's because of the humidity.
It's the humidity.
I learned. So that was a lesson for us at the Cancer Society.
But speak to us, Mrs. Longsworth, about some of the patients that you work with on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Are we seeing a particular type of cancer that's at an alarming rate in patients that's coming into the Belize Cancer Society?
You know, this is a part that we always get very serious about because cancer is a leading cause of morbidity and mortality. Top in Belize. It's part of that group of diseases that sit in that framework of non-communicable diseases. And the problems, the patients come to you because there are some diagnostic tests that are not available in Belize. How do they get that? You look around, there are some services within, for instance, the National Health Insurance. They have an amazing package of wellness packages that people don't really know about. They can be screened for breast cancer, cervical cancer, and so on. But yes, we have cervical cancer, breast cancer, alarming numbers. And not only that, in the past, like for instance, breast cancers, there were only people in their 50s with breast cancer that we knew about. Then it was 40s. And now we have people dying at 30, 35 with breast cancer. Cervical cancer is a vexing cancer, I call it, because it can be prevented with vaccines and certain kinds of regular checks. And we have people as young as 28 dying from cervical cancer. That is bad news. For men, prostate cancer again, and you know, our men, we don't, our guys, we don't see them going to a regular clinic as much as women do.
Right.
And so that has been our pitch. Come on, guys, let's go with us. Let's. We really care. I mean, when our guys get sick, you know, we're in trouble. That figure in the family, a lot of time the sole breadwinner. So it becomes problematic. So those cancers, so it would be prostate, breast, cervical, colon cancer.
Yes.
For both male and female. And then after that you have the other kinds of cancers. The children are mostly leukemia, but you have a mix of different types of cancer.
I think that you were discussing about how many people were just willing to donate, to sponsor, to come out, and I think that it reflects on how many people are close to the
that's true,
to the disease.
Yes.
I think almost everybody has a family member or a friend that has, you know, suffered, fought, you know, maybe beat it or probably lost to a particular cancer. And so I think that kind of reflects on why people missed the annual cancer walk for the past 2 years.
And you know, that's what the cancer walk is all about. And yes, regarding family, I lost my sister to leukemia. I have a grandson with a rare cancer, and I have a brother with prostate cancer. I mean, it's everybody can tell you, everybody that you speak to. Yesterday I had this amazing experience. It was like, whoa, an elderly woman walked in and she said, I've come to make my annual contribution. And I want to thank Mrs. Castillo for doing that. It was wonderful. I teared up. I felt so emotional about it. And she made that trip to Cancer Society amidst all the chaos in the office with people picking up T-shirts, and we're in the middle of everything, we managed to sit down and have a tiny little chat. So it's those kinds of stories that I like, and it's those kinds of contribution when I see people buying T-shirts, when I see the contributions that coming in, small contributions, nothing big. I really feel good about that. Actually, this year is going to be a good year for us because there's a woman who had cancer and died, an elderly woman, and left us some money. And so we are waiting, because that is being processed before we make an announcement about where it came from. And of course, we know, because of the COVID experience, that money we've got to save for a rainy day somewhere, somehow, and make sure so this year is going to be a good year. There are other companies too who have pitched in. You know, for instance, there'll be vitamin C distribution out there, free of cost. We had another company wanting to do breakfast for us, but everybody fell ill, and so we had to cancel out. You know how it is, but that's we have to work with what we have. Right. And so the community involvement, the calls, the contributions, the purchasing of T-shirts have been amazing, and we still have some T-shirts left. I want to ask people to come in and take whatever you can find. But don't worry, I'll look to see if I can get one for you. But
I ordered mine 3 months ago.
And you couldn't get yours, so we'll talk about it. I gave up mine even. I gave up mine to somebody else just to make sure that they could get what they want. So please, we still have T-shirts left. Come in and see if we have a size that you can wear and make the contributions, please. Because it's really all about the community. The Belize Cancer Society is a community organization, and we strive on just the work of the community. So we're standing on everybody's shoulder.
And even if there aren't any T-shirts left, I mean, the contribution is always welcome. I mean, this is not a cheap venture. When one of your family members is diagnosed with cancer at any stage, it's a lot of money to get an access treatment. And so certainly the contributions will be welcome.
And you know, people think the beliefs, you know, people come and they think we have money. We don't have money. We help to navigate you to care and services, but we have enormous bills, for instance, in moving people back and forth. The Ministry of Health does the same thing. And the Carl Kirchner now has an infusion suite as well. But at the end of the day, we don't have radiation in the country. There are some kinds of diagnostic tests they have to travel for, or it's not available. And then or even if it's local, they come for assistance. So, you know, we help where we can help, but cancer is expensive. If a patient has to be abroad for radiation, that patient has to remain abroad for 6 weeks.
So if
6 weeks finding per diem to eat and leaving their families behind. So it's big.
It is, yes.
It is. So if a person wants to donate or to find you and seek you out, how can they do that?
Yes, I would suggest that they call us at the Belize Cancer Society, 223-0922, or they can call me at 610-5293, and we can talk about what it is that they're interested in doing for us, and then I can navigate them to the best way. If it's a deposit, I can give them a deposit number or something like that.
So you mentioned that Belmopan just had their cancer walk.
Yes.
And now Belize City is
Belize City. And so we start at Marion Jones Stadium and we end at Marion Jones Stadium.
The whole loop.
So it's a I think it's like a 6.5 mile walk. No man, it used to be 9 miles. It used to be Ladyville. Come on. Look,
I try to think about the miles from the one at Belmopan. I don't know if that's 6 miles. I'll have to take a Google Maps.
Anyhow, we leave Marion Jones and we go Princess Margaret Drive, Belcan, all the way down to the port into Caesar Ridge, Yarborough, Regent Street, over Swing Bridge, make a right into Northern Street, past the tourism village, into the Marine Parade, all the way down the bar.
It's a nice morning walk.
You're going to be there, right?
Beautiful morning walk.
The last time I went, I believe there were speakers and a truck, and people were dancing behind the truck all the way from Ladyville to Belize.
Yes, well, we'll have some music this year, and I want to ask everybody to try and come out between 5 and 5:30, because our own Miss Karen Rosito will be there
she has
to give us our warm-up, right? Yeah. Give us our warm-up, and we once we tell people we're taking off and moving off at 6, people don't like to wait. So we have to leave at 6. So get out there as early as you can so that the warm-up can commence, and then our mayor can do his short speech and cutting up the ribbon. I won't be doing any lengthy talking because it's time to walk. Exactly. It's time to walk and enjoy the
and then the weather, you have to take into account of the weather.
Yes, bring your umbrellas. We're supposed to, I'm hoping we can get some umbrellas today with the big Belize Cancer Society logo. So I'm hoping we'll get them in time.
Okay.
If we do, we'll announce that we have them and maybe take them out there to sell.
One of the things I really appreciate about the Cancer Walk, and I don't know if you had this experience, right, but there's so many things happening at each section of the walk because it's so many people. So you can't hear the people at the front if you don't wait at back. So there has to be back entertainment, there has to be middle entertainment, and then there has to be front center entertainment. So I hope you're prepared for that.
Oh, well, now that you tell me, I'm going to go back to my plan. And of course, we'll have water along the way. Crystal water stations will be, we'll have about, I think they put in like 7 or 8 water stations along the way. And they're advertising on their page. So, you know, you can easily look to see where those stations are. And think about it as health. It's a celebration of life. We're celebrating, we're coming out of COVID, or we're still in COVID, but the worst, we think. but we are celebrating our lives.
Right.
We honor those that passed, and some patients who passed from COVID also had cancer. You know, it's that kind of thing. So regardless, we're celebrating each other and the families who survived cancer. And even those who lost loved ones, we're celebrating those families because they go through a lot.
Right.
And so what better way, that's why we said we're celebrating life and we're coming together to tackle cancer.
Do you have any like restrictions or rules? Do you need to be vaccinated? Do you have
None of those restrictions. You know, we have to be responsible for our own health.
Yes.
If you are in a large group, put on your mask. And if you're, just walk and in the free air, that is always recommended. That's it. And sanitize. Walk with your sanitizer. Every single person should be sanitizing because we're touching and so on. So sanitize. I mean, that's what we have to do every day. Every day, that's what we have to do, because this, you know, the virus is with us and it is real. Yes. And when you get it, it is real.
Oh,
right?
Yes,
you can't undermine the effects of COVID. It is very much a problem.
And certainly this is one of the events that a lot of us look forward to for the year, not only because we get to go and walk and we get the symbolism of it, but certainly because we get to honor, like you said, those who were battling cancer and are battling cancer. And we also get to meet a lot of people who we've not seen in a long time.
And share the same stories
right.
that you probably could relate to.
Right,
yes.
Absolutely.
That is, and you know what is nice about the City Walk is that we're walking through our own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I love the idea of walking through our neighborhoods, and I encourage our neighbors and the neighborhoods to come out and at least cheer us on.
There's no registration thing, right? You can just walk in.
No, we use the registry. We don't want to restrict. You know, we don't want to prevent anybody from just walking with us if they feel like walking.
Yeah.
We encourage you to buy a T-shirt. That's part of the registration. We factored in the registration there. That means that we may be registering for somebody who can't do it. But that's not what we want. We want people to walk because it's a community activity. But we encourage everyone who can spare those dollars to buy a T-shirt. They're doing it. That's fine, because somebody else may not be able to do it. But then what nicer thing than that to do?
Mrs. Longsword, I want to give you the opportunity to look directly into this camera and invite our Belizean people.
Come on, Belize. Big up on yourself.
Yes.
Big up the Cancer Society.
Sure.
And come out and celebrate life with us. It's about time we come together. We have to celebrate. We're here. We have to appreciate the environment, the country we live in, the city we live in, the people we know or we don't know, but we have to big up our communities, and that's what we're doing for the Cancer Walk. Come out and join us Saturday morning, bright and early. Come out there by 5 so we could move off 6 o'clock sharp. And don't forget, our mayor will be there to cut the ribbon, and then we take off. We're gonna try to find some music somehow. We have two. Oh, you know, I have to big up Village High School.
Oh,
they are going to be out in full
swing.
What? And they have their own truck with music or something. So come out and see the young people as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please continue to support us, and thank everyone who has contributed so far to the success of the walk.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Longsword, for coming to talk to us. And yes, all of you, please go out at 5 o'clock so that you can be a part of this amazing turnout and charity event through the Belize Cancer Society. And Mrs. Longsword and I talk about my shirt after the break.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Longsword. And but we have to take a short break, and when we get back, we will have our final conversation for this morning. So stay tuned.
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better? You get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
There are 3 categories to choose from: budget, economy, Island Lux. Try our services today and earn loyalty points on each ride to get cashback deals on your next ride, or sign up to be a Madriva driver. Just be sure to have your police record on hand. Transportation services at your fingertips. Download the app today. Madriva, opening doors to new opportunities.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie Power Tools, Charbroil Barbecue Grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
The CONCACAF Nations League 2022 is ready to kick off. On Thursday, June 2nd at 4 p.m., your Belize Jaguars will host the Dominican Republic at the FFB Stadium in Belmopan. And after going on the road to play Guatemala on June 5th, they will be back on home turf on Thursday, June 9th as they take on the French Guyana national team at the FFB Stadium at 4 p.m. Catch all the action live from Belmopan on Channel 5 and on our News 5 Facebook page June 2nd and June 9th starting at 4 p.m. Let's support and cheer for our national team, the Belize Jaguars, as they get the ball rolling for this year's CONCACAF Nations League Tournament.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
And welcome back. We're moving into our third segment for this morning. And we are joined today by representatives from the After School Care Summer Session After the Bell program. We are joined by Jillian Alegria and Martin Alegria. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having us this morning.
All right, let's get right into it.
Sure.
So, After School Care Summer Session. First of all, for our viewers, what is After the Bell?
After the
Well, After the Bell is a session that we came up with, a center that we came up with to assist parents in to help them with their kids after school. We would take them and guide them with their homeworks, give them whatever guidance they need. There are some kids that don't need as much, but others that we think would need help. And in this climate and this time, we just thought that it was a good idea.
Yeah. Especially after 2-3 years almost of COVID.
Yeah.
The education level has suffered, more so the primary school sector. And so we are both retired recently, so we decided to get into something that does a few things. One, helps us out in terms of our minds being active still.
Right.
We are still 55 years young. and at the same time help society and Jillian she was in a reading program, doing reading at primary school. She loved kids, so she came up with the idea, why don't we do something like this and help the kids at the same time, keep us active.
So it's sort of like a tutoring after activities school program.
Yes, where we provide guidance, because like the homework is really just a repeat of what the children got in class. So it kind of gives them extra confidence if they are familiar with the things that happen. And we feel that the homework would be the basis for guiding them.
I cannot stress how important it is for our young children to develop a strong foundation, particularly in literacy, if we want to be successful going forward, being able to communicate and being able to navigate life. Certainly the pandemic has impacted particularly primary school children, preschool children at that developmental stage. Speak to us about the importance of being able to access a service like this, considering that type of impact.
Sure. Again, with Jillian's experience that she had during her years at the reading program, she saw that English or reading was one of the weaknesses of the primary school. And so with her experience, she decided, let's see if we could get something done where we help the kids. In English and maths, I think, was another sector that you need that arithmetic, that mental arithmetic, that quick little 2 + 2 - 2 equals that type cementing in the minds of these young kids. Like you said, it's a foundation, especially between kinder or and standard 6. That's when it's growing the brains.
Right.
And so it's important that we concentrate on few things that will make more impacts, and reading is one, and maths or arithmetic is another. Notwithstanding, like Jillian is saying, we are planning to, if the kids that are enrolled, to also assist them with the homeworks, projects that they might have, which is the day-to-day at school. So homework gives us guidance, Jill and I, on what is being taught at the different schools that the kids will be coming from. And so we try to give more examples of those homeworks so that they become more familiar with that thematic area that the teacher or the different teachers are teaching. So it's to continue building up and trying to recover from some of the...
To reinforce what is already taught in the school.
Right.
And that's essentially what we're trying to do. And we just believe that educating the younger people, that's the foundation to a productive society. So if we start with the kids, I think it would create a better Belize. It's something that we're trying to do.
So we're talking about the summer session. that you all will be
Yeah.
hosting in a few weeks. Tell us what the activities will be like and why we should enroll our kids in this.
Sure.
Okay, well, with the summer session, we would contact each parent because we would want to know where the children, at what position they are and what's their weakness. So that is the basic thing that we would look for. But there'll always also be an element of fun where we'll do different word games and different speed arithmetic and speed mathematics. And so that it's not from 8 to 12, you cannot just focus solely on a drill for a child because you lose their attention. So we will bring in some fun and we'll have some reading and comprehension things. And I think it will be fun and it will be education in a different way, you know, education with a twist of entertainment.
Education with a twist. How long will this session be?
It starts it's really for parents. They drop their kids just before they go to work.
Okay.
So we'll be there from a little bit before 8, and then they pick them up at midday. And we believe in the morning the child's mind is most active.
And also in the afternoon they have free so that they can enjoy their summer.
Because it is summer. It's only 2 sessions we're having. The first session is 4th to the 8th of July, and the second session
is the following week.
Is the following week, the 11th to the 15th.
Yeah.
You know, I really like the approach that you're taking in terms of knowing when to engage with the child or when the child's brain is stimulated, because being in Finland for quite some time and under studying their education system, children go to school from 9 o'clock in the morning until 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And a lot of the activities that they do are more interactive, outdoor type activities to develop that communication skills and the soft skills that's needed. And so certainly that time is critically important, because after a certain hour, a child's brain just shuts down and the focus is completely gone. So speak to us about some of the activities that you would engage children in.
One or two of the activities I had was really patterned off game shows, and it would simply be like we'd choose a word like happy, and we'd want them to come up with other words that mean the same thing, and that would be one of our games that we would play. And it would be words that rhyme or words that, there are different things like that. We'd also have like start out with just a blank state, and you have like plus 15, minus 13, and then each child gets a chance to go, and you say a number, like you'd say 5, and then you're adding 13, your subject, and who gets the correct answer at the end. I just have to wait and see, because some kids are intimidated by stuff like that.
The competition
they compete. So we play it according to.
Yeah, it depends on the children that come. We'll see. Again, Jillian mentioned that we'll speak to their parents first, so that we know what the parent would want for that specific child. No. One might say, well, I would like I'll concentrate a little more on the reading aspect, the grammar. Another might say, really maths, we need him to do some maths. Others might say, just to socialize and get involved with other kids, because he's kind of home playing too much games. And so it depends on what the specific child, that's how we will group them in the day's activities. Again, we have a lot of other type of activities that we're planning.
And like reading stories to them, and then asking questions after the stories.
Like comprehension.
And
then we have internet, Wi-Fi, and so on, that we can access a lot of online programs and content. Depends on, again, we might be able to separate, the older ones in a room to do specific, while the others, the majority are in the center part where all these types of activities are on. And of course, like you mentioned, after 40 minutes or so, you need a break. So we have a little snack break, and we socialize, and then we go back at the other activity. And so by the end of 11, 12, they're all enthused and hungry, tired to go.
So you all were doing these types of tutoring sessions before, after this summer session, will you be continuing your tutoring during when kids go back to school?
You mean the reading program you're
Yes.
talking about? Well, I didn't plan on doing it. Just for the time frame, I can't really be two places at one time, so I didn't plan on continuing. You wanted me to.
If the demand is high, will
The
you
demand is high.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
We were doing, before we opened the business, we were looking around and finding out, doing assessments. And like I mentioned, apart from the COVID issue, the need is there, the demand is there. For this after school type. That's why it's named after the bell.
Yeah.
Because the bell after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock you get out.
Yeah.
Instead of going home and, you know, to a place where you don't have that stimulation still, it would be good.
And Belize is in a position where we would need just parents who have extra time like us to go and give to the schools to help with children in the reading category in particular. There are places, most primary schools have children that need that assistance. And you know, the more interest society shows in the development of a country, the better the country will go.
I absolutely agree.
But maybe to your question, you were saying after the summer session. The summer sessions, the 2 weeks, is to introduce the center, so that at the end of the day they know what we are doing, what the results of the 2 summer sessions will, you know, enthuse the parents to spread the word, and so that come August, hopefully, then we have the long-term part of it, where depends on the needs of the parents. You might only want your child to be there from, let's say, 2 to 4, or 3 to 5, or only 1 hour because they are doing karate or some other activity. They drop them for 1 hour. And so we are flexible enough to cater for those parents and those children that would want specific attention or issue to deal with, and including perhaps reading or grammar or English, as we call it, and maths and so on. But the center, we are planning to continue it very much after August, or starting August with the new school year. We had planned different sessions and so on because of the COVID situation, but it seems now that August will open as per in the past, where children go from 8 to about 2 or 3, depends on their level, and then after, in the afternoon is when they are out. But again, you're mentioning after 2 hours, kids get fatigued, especially being at school. So that flexibility in what each kid would want, we are flexible enough to continue that after this summer session starting in August, hopefully.
So how can parents get a hold of you, and how much is the session?
The summer session is 125, you could say, for the week.
Yeah,
5 days.
125 a week. For, and then during the school year, if your child is there from 2 to 3 hours, because some children finish at 3 and then the parent doesn't come until about 6, 2 to 3 hours, that is $20 per day. And beyond that, like some schools are over from 1:32 and the child stays there until about 6, that's $30. The weekly, if the child is enrolled with us permanently from Monday to Friday, that's $125 a week.
It's a discount, like
yeah, it's $125 a week or $500 a month.
If it's on a monthly, if it's something that you need, you acknowledge as a parent that your child need, you know, that help for a month, 2 months, depends. No? It's up to you all, and the financial situation that you have to. But we will be there with flexible times and programs.
Do they have to call in and schedule the time if they're going to be doing that for like a weekly or a monthly basis, or how do you schedule your their children in?
We will be, once they start the discussion, once they call us, our phone numbers are on the flyers that we have, but we could give our emails, and so we work on arrange those with the specific parent. No?
We have an enrollment form, and then we give them
Those
that
questions.
option. You know, the questions are there.
Questions are there,
and
which-
you tell us exactly whether you want them to come all week, once a week,
Yeah.
whether you want it to be flexible and we speak to you on a daily basis, or if you need us to pick them up from somewhere or take them to some extracurricular activity before they come to The uniform caters for that.
The uniform has that we could pick them up from school, for example, if you want us to do that, and carry him or her to the center.
So you're just you're giving them all the options.
Yeah.
Pick them up, drop them off, giving them the support that they need, giving them the resources that they need. So
it's a package.
It's a package deal.
And that will become even more important when the school year really begins in August, when parents are more into the...
In terms of the numbers that you could take on, what's the capacity?
We're not planning to exceed 15, and right now we're looking at 10, 5.
If for the summer
yes.
or
so it's not,
and even
it's not a
August,
whole lot.
because we need to give each kid the attention he or she deserves. So
Right.
I think I could manage 4 or 5 kids and equally to give that attention. So beyond 10 will be kind of...
Yeah, we're not going to give them the quality that we want.
Yeah,
you know.
that
We
we
want
want.
the children to really see it like a second home with that care, and at the same time the guidance that they need for the homework, and we think we could make a difference.
So right now we're thinking about a little 8 to 10 kids that we give that real personalized attention.
And where can they find you?
We are located, the center is located on University Heights. It's a new building, a wooden structure we set up there behind Healthcare Partners, I think it's that new residential area.
Okay.
Yeah, behind there. That's the picture there has the kids.
Yeah, it's close to the Dr. Cervantes Neurological Center. It's right close beside.
Yes, there it is.
It's
So
in that area, and then our phone numbers, if it's in the thing, but we could give, we could call 607-1212, 1212, which is Jill's, or 604-4480, which is mine.
And just one more time, when is the first session beginning and when is the second session beginning?
The first session is July 4th to the 8th, and the second session 11th to the 15th of July.
It's 2 weeks back to back.
2 weeks back to back, 125 for the week.
Yeah. And we are open like from after the session to enroll your kid for the August session, August through December.
Perfect.
So that you can save that space from them.
And where can they pick up the enrollment forms?
Well, they could call
Call
us
you
once
one
a
day.
year.
We can email it to them so that they fill it out. And coordinate details, of how we can get their kids in.
You know, it's an opportunity for some of our children to be able to pick up the pace and get the necessary foundation that they need. And so certainly, if you're a parent out there and you know that your child could benefit from this type of service, please don't be afraid to call. Don't hesitate to give them a call and access those services.
Sure.
Thank
you very much.
We want to thank you for joining us, actually.
Yes.
And, certainly, it's a service that's necessary. Yes. We need to get our education back up and going, and we need to get our children ready for the future, and that starts by building a strong foundation. So thank you for joining us this morning.
And with support like what we are proposing to give,
Absolutely.
that helps the system, the educational system.
Absolutely.
All right, after the bell, CARE summer session begins July 4th. So if you would like to contact Jillian and Martin Alegria, the flyers are up. You can contact them via email and phone calls. So get your child enrolled, and thank you all so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
All right, and with that, we'll take our final break and we'll stay back for wrap up. So stick tuned.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new SmartStream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, SmartStream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with SmartStream.
Donaldson Filtration Solutions is a company that comes with over a century of innovation and offering filters for a cleaner world. To keep your machines and equipment running in the toughest conditions, you need filters that work as hard as you do. Donaldson offers hydraulic filters, air filters, fuel filters, lube filters, and anything needed to keep your machine pristine. Come to your nearest Westrac Limited store for Donaldson filters and whatever your industrial or trucking needs might be.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
And we are back just like that. Our Thursday has come to an end for Open Rights.
Definitely 3 interesting conversations this morning.
Very good.
We started off the morning by discussing the celebration of the 10,000th birthday of the Belize Barrier Reef, and we are still looking forward to our
invitations that got lost in the mail, so they say. But yes, it was lovely to have Audubon Society and the Fisheries Department come in, talk to us a little bit about why we need to continue cherishing our barrier reef and why it's important that we are continuously being active in keeping our streets clean, keeping the barrier reef clean, and just, you know, appreciating the resources that we have as Belizeans, because like they said, it's a holistic relationship. Whatever happens to the barrier reef will eventually affect you and me.
And also appreciating the ecosystem services that the barrier reef provides. In terms of the Atlantic hurricane season, which we are now in, and how the barrier reef protects us from erosions along the coastlines, and how it provides livelihood opportunities for fisher folks. So certainly we need to continue to conserve our barrier reef.
Right, so when we celebrate World Ocean Day, June 8th. But we also had a lovely conversation with Mrs. Laura Tucker-Longsworth from the Belize Cancer Society. It was so lovely having her in studio and just talking about the appreciation for this particular charity event and how important it is, and how the demand was high this year for people that wanted to come out and celebrate life.
We so long awaited the return of the annual cancer walk. We know it's a time for us to honor those who have passed, who have lost the battle against cancer, honor those who are still fighting cancer, and also stand in solidarity with families, because we know how costly this type of venture is. And so certainly every single contribution is appreciated.
Of course, and I really enjoyed our final conversation with the After School Care Summer Program. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Like, COVID has given so many people these entrepreneurial ideas, but one of the things that I saw time and time again was this this push to help the education system. I think that parents finally understood the struggle that teachers go through on a day-to-day basis, and so starting up tutoring programs and helping kids with arithmetic and literacy, I think, is one of the foundations of this particular summer program. And I'm grateful that there are people out there that want to promote education so that, you know, they can create a better Belize like this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, April, before we actually sign out, we have two things that we need to
All right,
do.
tell me.
Firstly, we have a birthday shout out, and we are saying happy birthday to Tariq Peterson.
Happy birthday, Tariq. We hope you have a wonderful day from all of us here at Channel 5. We hope you have a wonderful birthday with lots of love and blessings. And of course, if you would like to send a birthday shout out to a loved one, you could always drop us a link at our oye@channel5belize.com email. But
yeah,
before we go, Brighton, we have to remind the folks.
Right. We have the Belize Jaguars playing the Dominican Republic in the CONCACAF Nations League at 4 p.m.
And you can catch the game where?
Exclusively on Channel 5.
Yes. So we will be playing that, we'll be showing that National League game, Belize Jaguars versus the Dominican Republic. So that should be a wonderful game today. So if you're a fan, make sure that you go out, make sure that you watch, tune in live on Channel 5.
Listen, we're not there physically, but we could be there with our horns in front of our televisions and cheering on our guys.
You know, I love that things like events like these, events like the Cancer Walk, all of that is coming right back. You know, we're slowly transitioning back into like a level of normalcy. So I have to get my gala invitation, I have to get my Cancer Walk t-shirt, and I have to get my Belize Jaguars jersey. So there's a lot of catching up to do.
Yes, absolutely.
But of course, we would like to thank all of you, our viewers, for tuning in. You woke up this morning and you started your morning right here at Channel 5. And of course, if you have any questions or concern, you can always drop us a link at oye@channel5belize.com.
You could find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ
or
and Instagram at OYEBelize.
All right, we want to thank you all tuning in. You open your eyes,
start your morning right,
and remember to keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
Stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow, Belize. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.